Here's what the bullseye screen will look like at the end of this course, but with all the visible widgets highlighted and labeled. Note that some of the widgets are invisible, and I'll point them out to you soon. Note the following course we will complete the app there. Remember, a widget is anything that gets drawn on the screen. In the screenshot, it seems that just about everything is a widget. The text items, the buttons, and the slider are all widgets. In fact, every user interface control is a widget. Some widgets can act as containers for other widgets. The biggest widget in the screenshot is one of these. It's the widget representing the screen itself, the game page widget, and it contains all the other widgets on the screen, the text items, the buttons, and the slider. There are different types of widgets in Flutter. These different types of widgets have one thing in common. They can all be drawn on the screen. What makes each type different is a combination of what they look like and what they do. So far, you've worked with a few different types of widgets. Some widgets, like text, are directly visible on the screen and they show some type of content. Other widgets, like row and padding, alter the layout of other widgets like text and buttons. In this code snippet, row, padding, and text are all widgets. Main axis alignment, edge insets, text style, and font weight are not. Look at those bullseye screen widgets again, but this time with the specific types of widgets called out. You can see the user interface for bullseye is mostly made up of text and button widgets. The slider widget lets a user enter a number by sliding a control. You'll learn about this widget in the next episode. Some of the widgets that we will use on the game screen are invisible. One of them is a columns widget, whose job is to arrange the children's views in rows. Effectively, the user interface of Bullseye is just 4 rows of widgets in columns with a little bit of spacing added in.
To get started, open your project in progress or download the starter project for this episode. The game works by the user moving the slider between 1 and 100. The target value is random, so we need to provide that to the user. We're going to create a new prompt widget. We could create it in main.dart, but you'll notice that main.dart is getting a little crowded. A better approach is to create a separate file for each of your custom widgets. That way, it's easier to organize your code and find things that are broken. Create a new file by selecting the lib folder and pressing the New File button. Give it the name prompt.dart. The first thing we need to do is import the material library. The material library gives us access to our widget collection. As an experiment, let's create a new stateless widget. Type st and give it the name prompt. You'll see that a constructor is provided in our new widget. A constructor is used to create an object and set values to it. This just takes in a key, which is a way for Flutter to identify the widget. That's not important for now. Let's add a field for the random value. We'll call this target value. By setting it to final, we signify that the value won't change. You'll notice that we get a compile error. We need to update the constructor to take in the target value. Update it to the following. Okay, now comes the layout. We're going to lay out our prompt in a column. This will place our widgets on top of each other. Add the following to your build method. We're passing in an array of widgets. Arrays can come in lots of different types. For example, an array of integers or an array of strings. The angled brackets just indicates the array types. Now let's add our first widget, a text widget. Okay, it'd be nice for us to style the text to make it look nice, instead of using the default style. Create a new Dart file and call it textstyles.dart. The first thing to do is import the material library. Now we'll create a new class called label text style. Next, we create a new style for body text 1 that returns a text style. Then we copy the body text 1 theme, passing in the properties we want to override. We set the weight to bold, the size to 12, the color to black, and the spacing to 2. Switch back to prompt.dart. Import textstyles.dart. Now add your style. Let's add another text widget. The $sign in front of the target value is used to access the value of the target value variable inside of the string. And if the variable isn't a string, it will automatically convert it to a string for simple data types, like ints and doubles, etc. In main.dart, add an import for prompt.dart. Now scroll down to game page state, and in the build method, replace the first text widget with your prompt widget. Build and run on the emulator. Now you have your new text in place. Notice the top of the text is bolded. Let's add some padding. Open up prompt.dart. Select the text widget with your target value. Right-click and choose the refactor option. Finally, choose the wrap with padding option. It provides a default padding of 8, which works great for us. Save, and you'll see the emulator automatically update. Nice work.